Welcome to Podnutz episode number 38. We are joined again with Steve D'Amico from smdcomputer.net, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things actually this episode. Steve, how you doing?
Great. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. It's great. It's great to be here.
Well, you know what? I got to say, because I blame you for this, and I felt so. It was very hard for me to do this, but I have to say, I went to I needed to get a power adapter for this Dell laptop that I had. Right, Dell laptop was a Dell Inspiron 5150. You know, somebody gave it to me to fix the power jack. That's basically all I do now, fix laptop power jacks. But I took it and I recognized the problem that this thing was having. It was you'd hit the power button, you'd plug in the AC adapter, you hit the power button, and the two lights the two LEDs in the front would light up, like the battery light and the power light or something. I can't remember exactly which ones. They'd both light up and then go out instantly. And I've had that problem before with this model, and I thought maybe it's definitely not the power jack, because you have the power adapter in there and you're getting those lights turning on, even with the battery out. So it's definitely not the power jack. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting any lights at all. So I knew it wasn't the power jack. So I'm like, all right, it's either the motherboard or the AC adapter.
Yeah.
And so I'm like leaning heavily towards motherboard. And then I thought about it. You know, I called on my past experience fixing laptops, and I said, I remember an instance where I had a very similar laptop. It had the same symptom, and it wasn't the motherboard. It was just the power adapter. So I tested the power adapter, right, the AC adapter, and it was putting out 19 volts, which was supposed to do. But I'm like, you know, I talk about this in the laptop repair videos. I'm like, maybe it's just not putting out the current it needs to power this thing, because it was a third-party power adapter, and they usually conk out pretty fast. And it was one of those light ones. It was really light. So I said, all right. Well, I remember Steve D'Amico telling me about his iGo and how he loves the iGo and swears by it, says it's the best purchase he ever made, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so I look at it online and I'm like, man, $100 for the iGo, and then $129 for like the iGo Plus or whatever they call it now. It has all the tips and all the, you could charge like a cell phone and a laptop at the same time and all that junk. Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way I'm spending that money. I'm like, I know what he said. I'm not spending that money. So I ran out to Micro Center to get like a refurbished Kensington or something like that. And they were all out of them. And then they had this one from Cables to Go, right? It was like $50, had all the tips for a power adapter. It looked really cheap. It was so cheap that you actually had to turn a knob on it to the voltage that you needed to use.
Yes. I've had one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those automatic ones, you know?
Yeah.
And it had the adapter for the Dell and everything like that. And I said, well, you know, how bad can it be? So I bought it for $50, took it home, go to plug it into this laptop, and the tip for the Dell computer was just the wrong size. Like, it was meant for that particular Dell, but it just didn't fit. You know, the radius of the tip was just, it was too big.
So it wouldn't even plug in.
It wouldn't even plug in. The diameter of the circle that goes, it was one of those circular Dell ones, and it just wouldn't fit in that hole. And like, I said, you know what? Screw it. I went to Radio Shack. I bought an iGo. I brought it home. Tip fit perfectly, and the laptop actually powered on. So it was actually a problem with the power adapter that was the original problem, and the iGo, you know, fixed it. So you've converted me to an iGo, you know, to the iGo.
I'm not really brand loyal when it comes to the iGo. I just like the adapter that I did buy. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's quality. I don't know if there are Targuses out there because that's what I heard, that there are like good Targuses out there that are like comparable to the iGo. I just never went there first. I went to the iGo first, and I was like, ooh.
No, I think you lucked out.
Yeah.
I've bought refurbished Targuses, and by the way, guys, I talked about this in Podnutz Daily, but don't buy refurbished power adapters. They suck. I mean, you can buy one. The rate of return I've had on those things, like actually returning them to the store I'm talking about, is like 90% of them that I've gotten I returned. They always die. They always break. So I've bought Kensington recondition. I bought Targus recondition. They always fail. So I think you have to bite the bullet on these sometimes and either repair the existing power adapter that the thing came with or get an iGo. And I've seen the Targus, Steve, because I researched that too. I'm like, the Targus is a little cheaper than the iGo. And I looked on BestBuy.com or something like that and just looked at all the reviews. Terrible reviews. They say it died like instantly. So even the new ones. So
I don't understand the business model of, and this is my way of trashing iGo. I don't understand like the business model of, hey, your laptop doesn't have a charger anymore. how about buying a $120 charger?
Yeah.
I don't understand that business model. And then and then on top of that you're like, okay, I'll buy that, and they're like, oh yeah, and you need a $10 tip. You know, that's like, wow. You know, that's I wouldn't do that if I was just a regular user and I need a laptop charger. I wouldn't be buying a iGo, and I probably wouldn't care about charging my laptop with or my cell phone with the same charger.
Right.
I mean, I guess maybe if I was some kind of crazy like corporate executive driving all over or traveling and I needed to save space or something in my bag, I don't know. But I mean, still, that's pretty steep. But when it comes to laptop repairs, I've noticed that some of I didn't know if it was Targus or what it was, but there was, because I never really paid attention, but I had a lot of customers that have bought those type of adapters, and what I've noticed with them is the tips break. They they literally disintegrate. Like the plastic is cheap on the tip somehow, and they bust them open and they like all fall apart and it's like, it was really terrible. Yeah. And I've had a few of them where I was called in to repair the laptop, and it was just I could see it's obviously the tip is all kind of cracked and disconnecting from the connection. So I and then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll call, when I talk to them, I'll ask them, because I usually do it mobile, and I ask them, you know, what model you have before I even go there, and then I just look up the model on the iGo website, and I see if my adapter is compatible, and then I run out with the right tip and the adapter just in case, because I never know what I'm going to run into.
Exactly. You know, I mean, but even on the iGo website and the little paper that it came with, my computer wasn't listed, but I just knew that was the right tip. It wasn't listed on there though. Yeah,
that happens a lot. A lot of stuff is listed, but if you kind of if you know the model, and then you know, all right, well, this is one of the ways I research whether something will fit. Like I've first, of course, I just look up the model and just see, because a lot of times it is listed. But if it's not, I look up a model that I know uses the same replacement adapter and has basically the same voltages and the same everything. So then I might even do that on eBay, because they have a good charts on eBay.
I go over this in the laptop videos. Exactly. It's exactly what I do.
And then I go, all right, well, the 1150 works perfect with the 5150. So then I go, okay, that's perfect. All right, then I look up that one, and then I go, all right, well, that's listed, that tip, and it's pretty obvious usually. But I think I might have blown a gateway. I probably didn't, but I think I might have blown a gateway out on a friend of mine with the iGo. I just went, I think this is the right tip, and I just slapped it in there and just connected it up. I think it should have ran, but I'm not really sure. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even really fully know exactly what I might have done, but it was working. I knew that I think it was supposed to work because it was intermittent, and then it just didn't work at all, and I was like, oh geez. So I ended up buying the motherboard for the guy.
Really? I don't know, but I mean, does iGo regulate the voltage that comes out of those through the tips? I guess it has to, right?
Yes, each tip gives